Yo, what's going on, Game Leaper? Today we're going to be watching a bit of Kayn jungle, and we're going to figure out what this guy doesn't do that he probably should do, and what he does do that's probably bad. So, like, in terms of skill order, pathing, how he clears camps, all that stuff. So let's get into it. So on Kayn, guys, this guy actually knows what to do. Taking your E second is always preferred because it's going to give you health back. Your W, the actual damage it does, is kind of useful, but not really. It doesn't do that much. And you are going to get low in the jungle when you are farming Kayn, clearing camps on Kayn if you don't take your E. So you're getting E to travel between your camps, and for the actual like HP it gives you when you're in the wall. Now, hopefully this guy smites his Gromp, but he's kind of doing this well, but he should be kiting this back. So every time you auto attack, you should be bringing the Gromp closer to your next camp. So you're auto attacking and moving. So in the bottom left, I think I've said this on other videos, but in the bottom left, your abilities have cooldowns, but you have to understand your attack speed has cooldowns. So you can see, or has a cooldown, you can see in the bottom left how Kayn's attack speed is 0.68. So he's going to auto attack every 0.68 seconds. So 2/3 of a second, he's going to auto attack. Okay, this means, okay, because he's not auto attacking all the time, right? This means that there's a cooldown there where he doesn't do anything. During this time, you want to be kiting the Gromp and moving him towards your next camp so you take less damage. If Gromp is just standing still like he is here, he's going to do more damage to you. Okay, very important. So as and this goes for every camp as well, when you're farming these camps, you should be auto attacking and moving all the time. This is good what Kayn does here. He Qs into all of the walls, so his Q damages them. So the second part of his Q hit that top small wolf just once. That was it. So you can see how that top small wolf is a little bit healthier than the bottom one. This is simply because this guy hasn't Q'd. So the first part of his Q didn't hit that wolf, but honestly, it's fine. It doesn't really mean that much. This is still fine. Get to the camp quickly. And he does it here. See how he auto attacks and then moves? And when you have your Q available as well, if you have your auto attack available at the same time, auto attacking Q, because your Q is going to cancel that animation and just speed everything up. So these little tips, they might be like the most obvious things in the world, but for someone who's kind of new to Kayn and someone who has maybe even played Kayn before, these are going to be very useful. Now, if this guy was to go to his Raptors here, now unfortunately, okay, so thankfully he hasn't used both his refills. I don't think so anyway. Here you might as well just E through the Raptor wall. Just to get the HP back as well. It might be a little risky if you're getting invaded, but if you are going to get invaded, they're going to go to your red buff. This is really good what he does here as well. So he auto attacks the first raptor and then Qs into all of them. This is excellent, actually. This is very, very good indeed. And notice in the bottom left, guys, how he's put 2 points in his Q. This is also recommended if you are just going to clear camps. So it's going to lower the cooldown and give it a bit more damage. And because your W, again, it's not really the most useful ability until like you evolve into your forms. So this is definitely recommended as well. So this guy certainly knows how to clear. I still think he can do a better job of kiting the camps and all that, and using his E to get around the camps as well. But so far, so good. Even there as well, guys, like this Kayn Qs over this wall, just E over it. You never want to be using, so this is the big difference between, like, how do I put it, like challenger junglers, right, and challenger Kayns to like the rest. You can see that he's used both of his refill charges. If you clear properly, you only need to use one. Okay, that's very important. This is why it's so important, because let's say this guy gets to the scuttle crab and he fights the enemy jungler. If the enemy jungler has a refill and he doesn't, that's very important. So we always want to try and have a refill in hand for the scuttle crab or for the gank we make. Whatever the first play is on the map, we want to have a health potion for it, okay? So the fact that this guy hasn't kited the camps properly and actually used his E properly means that he's got to go through 2 refill charges. And yeah, as well, you can see in the bottom left how he's used both of his smites on this clear as well. Really, you don't even need to use both smites on Kayn. So yeah, again, this guy just not using his E properly, not kiting the Gromp, taking way too much damage, and even the other camps as well, he could have done a better job. There as well, how this guy just Qs over the wall, or like attempted to. All he has to do here is just E, exactly like he does. So if he was to E, when he finished that like last Krug, if he was just to E along this wall and then you can go over the Baron pit as well, that's what he should have done. No reason to use your Q there, just use your E. And you can see that when he gets to the scuttle crab, if the enemy jungler is here, let's see if it is. Thankfully, Vi's on a blue buff, and hopefully a fight happens here. You can see that because he doesn't have his smite, it's actually like really awkward to do this now. Thankfully though, his Darius has priority, so this is good for him. But yeah, see how long it takes? Like the crab shield still isn't broken. Finally, it breaks. And yeah, it's just very, very slow. Against better players, like they may have already like done the crab. And it's simply because this guy, again, just doesn't kite the cans and doesn't stay healthy enough, so he doesn't have any smite charges left. Very, very important. Now, I just want to make another point here, guys. So this Yasuo you can see, right, is playing very, very defensive now. The lane is over here and Yasuo's down here. Why do you think that is? Probably because Kayn's on vision. Kill Supreme. No surprises there, right? The reason why I don't like this move from Kayn, and you should, like, if you're a jungler, doesn't really matter who you play, you should take this tip with you, mate. This is the biggest tip of all time. When you show on vision like this, Yasuo obviously sees you, but the enemy bot lane sees you. The enemy top laner sees you. The whole map knows where you are. So let's say the Vex and Xerath are winning lane and crushing lane, which they are. They're winning lane pretty hard. They know that it's just a 2v2, so they can keep on crushing your bot lane. Also, and just the way to prevent this is just to think about what key areas of the map are probably going to be warded during this early laning phase. So for mid lane, that brush is pretty popular. Raptors are pretty popular, okay? If it's top lane, the tri-brush, the river brush. If it's bot lane, the tri-brush, the river brush. So if you're walking over these areas, the chances are, in most games, you're going to be walking over vision, which just gives away the pressure that you have. If you stay in fog, the more pressure you have, the more kill threat you have, you are just more dangerous. When you sit in this brush, though, for that long as well, even if they get Yasuo's flash, Yasuo actually kind of does an alright job. Nothing happens for it. Now, thankfully, guys, after doing the Scuttle Crab, the enemy bot lane is pushed up too far and Kayn is going to gank them, and he does an excellent job here. So he eased through this wall, which is excellent, which is going to propel him into this wall as well. So he's in this wall, and then Xerath here. Now, what Kayn can do is flash auto attack here. So when Xerath E's, you should know that this E, and maybe if Vex has her cooldown, she might fear you as well if she uses her Q or E here to chain it with the Xerath. I think flashing here is definitely the best option. So I think if Kayn was to flash this and auto attack the Xerath to slow him because he has red buff, and then it's just a standard, like, you know, WQ, you'd probably W first just to slow him again. But at that point, yeah, it doesn't really matter what order you do your Q and W in. Just the flash auto attack is important. But he does get stunned here, which means that he's actually out of range. And it's kind of smart what he does because he Ws just before he gets stunned. So maybe he knew or didn't trust himself to actually flash the E. So he's just W'd instead, which is kind of smart. I guess like the main reason you would W here is just because Ashe, you can see, is just out of range. And your Vayne is in Narnia, so she's not part of this fight. So it's like you need to slow these two champions or one of them for Ashe to catch up and get a kill. So you can see the slow puts Ashe in range now of her W, and she can then flash an auto attack onto him, ignite and stuff, and they end up getting the kill there. Okay, so the W from Kayn's actually good. I would just rather see him flash, but what actually sets that up, Eing through the wall and then getting behind the enemy champions, was excellent. Like his pathing there was very good. So take these kind of like essential, basic, I guess, Kayn tips with you guys into your games. Remember the vision tip as well. Do not walk over vision unless you have to, unless like there's a really free kill somewhere. But yeah, take these tips with you into your games, and I will see you in the next vlog. Bye.